Well, welcome to Riding Shotgun. Cold morning, early December, and we're headed back for a little drive and a little chat. Thanks for joining me. We're going to talk some hoops. Wow, what an interesting 3 games. 3 losses, but I think very interesting. I think we're seeing this team start to develop into something right now, and in fact, I would be very excited about what I'm seeing from them defensively. I think clearly defense is going to come before offense for this group. But they did some things the last couple games, the 2 Big Ten games, Northwestern and Maryland, that I haven't seen Illinois teams do for a long time. If you look at their defense at the end of regulation in the Northwestern game, that was spectacular. 4 straight steals to thwart them. And then against Maryland, 25 turnovers. You know, I think Mark Turgeon's a good coach, no doubt about that. And he was like, wow. He was like, you know, we don't see that in the Big Ten. We won't see that from anyone else. That was something. And now, were there issues? Of course. And offensively, they're still a ways from figuring things out. And then they had some just bonehead plays. The inbounds pass at the end of regulation in Maryland was just, you know, it'd give you a headache thinking about it. It was just so bad. Let's just win the game. You know, get the ball inbounds, get somebody fouled. Don't give them a chance to take the ball inbounds at their own basket, and allow them to tie it and force the overtime. And then in overtime, it was both teams just offensively trading baskets, trading free throws, trading shots, trading plays. And then at the end, the foul by Mark Allstork on Anthony Cowan. You know, Anthony Cowan is really good, but even he had 7 turnovers in that game. So I'm kind of in it for a bigger picture thing. I'm not probably the typical fan at all, and I'm never going to live in the glass half empty world. So I saw some things that kind of got me excited. I don't know if Brad Underwood can physically hold up through this season. He's just beating the crap out of himself, smashing on the scorer's table. He punched out a garbage can at halftime, had bandages on his hand, Band-Aids on his hand after the game. But clearly, you know, these guys know they're playing for somebody that wants this every bit as much as they do. And the other thing that you notice too, and this is an issue, this is the bigger issue to me, and Brad knows this, I've written about this, is that these guys don't know how to win close games. They haven't done that in years. You know, occasionally they'll stumble into one, maybe as much because of some other team's mistakes as anything else, but they don't know how to win these close games. You look at a program like, I'll just say Michigan State in the Big Ten. You know, that is ingrained into their culture, and it's taught from player group to player group to player group. Yeah, Tom Izzo has something to do with it, but it's passed on from players who learn how to do it, then expect to do it, believe they will do it, and are shocked when it doesn't happen. And Illinois is not in that place right now. And Brad, that's, you know, when I wrote that column about Brad's biggest job is to restore this swagger that isn't there. And that is a really difficult thing. You can't just snap your fingers and make it happen. It has to be learned. If they had it, they would have won 2 of these 3 games, maybe all 3 of them, and they're just having to try to get there a little at a time. I thought it was really interesting too in the Northwestern and Maryland games. You know, when you look at the point guard position, Tejon Lucas, I thought, played really well, set the tone in a lot of ways in that Northwestern game. Even if he did get a shot blocked at the end, he was clearly kind of in charge out there. And then he wasn't getting it done in the Maryland game, and Brad ended up going with Trent Frazier, and I thought it was kind of a breakthrough game for Trent Frazier. I thought he really showed some things, and he's one of those guys that if he could experience that close game win thing, could help drive that culture. And DeMonte Williams too. I continue to be excited about the freshman. Now Mark Smith has fallen off the last couple games. There's no doubt about that. He's struggling a little bit. All these freshmen are going to go through periods like that, but he'll bounce back. He'll come out and the question is, when they play Austin Peay Wednesday night, does Brad have any lineup changes? Because right now, Mark's not really earned his starting spot. If you wanted to award that spot to the guy who's earned it, it would be Aaron Jordan. And then, you'd look beyond that. I tell you what, if Trent Frazier was shooting the ball a little bit better, you'd really look to him for a bigger role, and that may come as well. So I think there's some things to really be encouraged about. They lost 3 games this last week to 3 NCAA tournament teams. Northwestern ranked in the preseason top 25, really took Purdue to the wire at West Lafayette on Sunday. I was impressed with Maryland's talent. Wow, they've got some interesting pieces. Jackson is just a man, and they've got some big guys inside. And Illinois is little. That's an issue. They need to be a little bigger or have another bigger option. Hey, it was kind of fun to see Gregory Eboigbedan come in early, and I didn't expect him to play as well as he did. And it isn't that he played great, but you know what? He fought and he battled, and this was after they fell behind 10-0, and they needed some people to get out there and fight for it, and he did that. And I know he won some points in his coach's eyes, and in the fans' eyes too. That was a good experience for him. All these freshmen, any positive experience is good, and he had one the other night. So that was pretty cool. Now they play Austin Peay Wednesday night. Some of you might be old enough to remember Austin Peay. When you say Austin Peay in the world of Illinois basketball, lights go off, bells sound, alarms blare, and you remember 1980, when was it? 87, I think, right? NCAA tournament at Birmingham, Alabama. First round, Illinois, Austin Peay. Illinois considerable favorites. On ESPN prior to analyzing the game, Dick Vitale said, "I guarantee you Illinois will win. If Illinois doesn't win this game, I'll come to the Assembly Hall and do a headstand at center court." I believe that was what he said, promised, and then made good on when Illinois lost that game by 1 point. A heartbreaker. Certainly one of the games that Lou Henson detractors like to get on the table of evidence early. And so, I don't know. I haven't seen this Austin Peay team. I know they're 4-4. I would think Illinois should certainly win this game and do it well. And then Vegas over the weekend, they play UNLV on Saturday night. That's a game that starts at 11 o'clock Central Time out there. And Vegas has got a couple of outstanding players. They've got a 7'1" kid who's originally from Chicago, didn't play high school ball in Chicago, went to, I don't know if it was a prep school or academy or something, but he is really, really good. And then they have the Junior College Player of the Year, a 6'7" kid who's a high scorer and is really good. And they've got another player that's been scoring a lot too. They're a formidable team, not playing really on their home court technically, because the Thomas and Mack is undergoing some, I believe, some renovation as well, and so they're playing at one of the casino halls. And but this will be pretty cool. And if you can't stay up that late, just record it. It's I think it's an ESPN2 game on Saturday night, 11 o'clock Central Time, and then they come back the following week and play on Wednesday. Against, is that the Longwood game, I think? A game they should dominate. And then they go up to Chicago for the Lou Henson tribute game when they play New Mexico State. Of course, Lou coached both teams to the Final Four. And, we're all kind of monitoring Lou's health. He's been in the hospital recently, is out now, is certainly planning to go to this game. And I know they've got their family coming up there to be there for part of that. They're going to have a little ceremony for Lou. There's a reception for Lou beforehand at the United Center. I think 100 people have indicated they are going to attend, and that would be former players and maybe some managers and their guests. I think each person's allowed to bring a guest. I talked to Rod Cardinal about that the other day, and he said they're at 100, and he said we're about maxed out on what can come to that. So I'm looking at my dog. Get out of there. And then Lou's family, I believe, is all coming down to Champaign to their house for a Christmas celebration. And so, you know, Lou's got a way of always rallying up for the moment. So I'm just going to assume he'll be there, and look forward to a nice salute to him from the crowd. And I haven't really looked into New Mexico State, how they're doing. But then there's that game, and then of course a week later, on the 23rd, is the Illinois-Missouri bragging rights game down in St. Louis. And of course the expectation for that game changed a little bit when Michael Porter Jr. Became injured and had the surgery. But they're still a pretty darn good team. His brother is a factor, and Tillman's playing pretty well at times, and they've got guards, and so, but that'll be fun. That'll be just great. It was so overdue to get this thing jump started again. Last year was just depressing, with 11,000 empty seats at the Scott Trade Center, and neither team ranked or close to it. No buzz about either team. You knew that probably both teams were headed for coaching changes and an effort to get things started up again, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So those things coming up, and we'll resume Big Ten play on January the 3rd when they're at Minnesota, followed up by at Michigan, I believe. And so you say, well, yeah, but they got a chance to be 0-4 in the Big Ten. That's true, but their schedule changes dramatically after those games. There's a lot of teams now that are beatable that are on their schedule, and if Illinois can continue to evolve offensively and can really become a force defensively, and I see them headed in that direction, they have a chance to accumulate a lot of wins. Wisconsin all of a sudden is not Wisconsin anymore. Iowa has got issues. You look right on down the line at a number of these teams, and you say, wow, you know, there's opportunities there. Hey, Michigan State's on a different plane. I understand that. But, you know, look how close Illinois was with Northwestern, and Northwestern 2 days later goes over to West Lafayette and plays them right down to a last-shot game over there. So, you know, I'm just really into the development of the story. How does this team evolve into what they're going to be? Because this is going to be a glimpse into what future teams are going to be, and as Brad adds talent, that's going to be what we're kind of banking on to get things going into the NCAA tournament, make a run in the NCAA tournament, and get things back to where people are excited about basketball. As for football, real quickly, not a lot going on right now. Yeah, that we had some players leave. I'm not too excited about that. I think 9 players left last year, 11 players left the year before that. You know, I'm told that of the 7 that left, 5 of them were probably not really going to be welcomed back anyhow, or 4 of them maybe. So, you know, but you got to have warm bodies to play the game. And so they've got to go out there and do a bang-up job at the tail end of this recruiting push. And we'll see what they can do in terms of adding to talent. But that's about all. They had their awards banquet over the weekend. Nicky Allegretti, the offensive MVP, James Crawford, you know, the defensive MVP, I would have probably named Bennett Williams, but I recognize he's a freshman, and Lovey probably wanted to name a senior. And then their Australian punter, Blake Hayes, the special teams MVP, no doubt about that one. So anyhow, thanks for riding along. It's cold this morning. It's supposed to really turn cold now, and probably a matter of time before we get snow, but I don't see any in the forecast, so hey, I'm not going to worry about it. We get a day when it's too snowy to get back here, we'll figure out something else. But it's kind of cool to be in December and be pushing a little more toward Christmas. I love Christmas, and got the house all decorated and ready to go there. So hope you guys are doing great. Thank you for riding along. Appreciate it a lot, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday. Thanks. Bye.